Just a kind of a heads up on today. We're just going to be tooling around in RPR. I'm going to be just clicking on buttons and showing you guys things. But if anybody at all, has used this for a certain, way for a client and has, their thoughts or successes or whatever, please share it. Because otherwise there's so much in RPR that I just want to kind of show you as much as possible and, allow you to, to get a feel for it. As always, this is 100% interactive. So I hope that you guys unmute yourself, raise your hand, whatever. But we're definitely here just to kind of show you guys this tool. It's pretty crazy that we have access to this valuable data, and that truly will help us stand apart. If you give a CMA from RPR and someone else gives a CMA from the MOS, you have a chance for a potential seller to go, wow. So, so that's kind of the idea. We'll be peeking around in there, but I'm just going to give them just a minute, and then we'll get going. Okay. All right. I don't see anybody else waiting to get in, so we'll just let them join. I am recording this. So, okay. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to be kind of going through a few pages, but so a couple ways to get to RPR. So obviously you guys know if you've been on one of these calls. If not, you'll learn now that I actually sell real estate in New York State. So, and I travel to all the Ohio and Florida offices, doing work with you guys in consulting. So, so this is my login for my MLS, and you'll see that, obviously I can go into Matrix, which is my MLS, and lots of other things. But so I can get to RPR right from my MLS. So, it's important to know that RPR is not an ERA tool. It's not it's not a third, well, it's sort of a third-party tool, but it's really a NAR tool. So, NAR offers this to us for us paying dues to be a realtor. So so one option here is I can just click on RPR and get to it. And this is what comes up. Obviously I log in, but you also see you can just go to narrpr.com. So you can go to narrpr.com and just get right to the RPR homepage. So, again, just not sure exactly, with the different MLSs. My login was the same email that I use for the MLS, and it's super simple to reset your password or figure it out if you've never used it. So super simple for you to get in. Move my picture of you guys. So this is the login page, and there's so much here. So again, I'm just going to start clicking around. But the very first thing that you absolutely need to do, because if we do anything with RPR, if we send reports, if we're going to send something to a buyer or seller or try to market something to someone, you have a profile in here. So if I just see where if I click Welcome Wayne, or I can click the little settings, kind of the gear, the gear looking tool. So if I just click that, my profile comes up. So obviously you want to add a picture. You want to make sure this information is correct. So, kind of key where, your ERA Real Solutions, and the broker has an address, but obviously you can be ERA Real Solutions in this address or that address, or, any one of the 11 addresses. So, so you want to just make sure, and you just change this. Like I was kind of playing in here, updating some stuff, I just simply change, whatever I need to. Make sure your email address is in here, make sure your website's in here. So, it should automatically connect an MLS. and then your number. So mine was automatically connected. If I happen to belong to two MLSs, which some of us do, you can just find that second MLS and add it if it didn't add it automatically. So again, just kind of making sure all this, if you're in the situation where the license has to be on any marketing pieces, some states have to do that. I'm not sure if anyone's on from Florida, but I think Florida maybe, I can't remember. But again, just an option to put your license on there, and then just save it. So once I do that, my profile's set, like everything else, actually one thing that I didn't do, and I'm not quite sure why I would have to, but just making sure that your time zone's correct. So again, just one thing that you can make sure is up to date. And then once I save that, I can kind of check off, hey, my profile's done. It's not like a profile where you're looking to get, reviews and you're going to share the profile, but that, whatever info's on that in that profile will appear on any of the reports that you run. And we'll kind of get to the reports in a little bit. So again, please, any questions, just unmute yourself or throw them in chat. Okay, so thank you, Rachel and Julia. So Cleveland and Cincy, which tells me that maybe Columbus can as well, our middle baby there. So yeah, right from our login page. So and Cincy can as well. So super simple for you guys to find, but obviously just at all, whenever you want, you can always just type in NAR, rpr.com and get to it as well. Okay, thank you guys for that. All right, so I'm going to just kind of go back to the home page here. So anybody have any questions? Okay. So one thing I want to show you before we kind of go too far is if I scroll down, there's an RPR mobile app. So, I'm just going to show you that you can obviously get to it. If you're on your phone on this page and click Google Play or, Android or App Store for the Apple, or just go to your App Store and type in RPR. It should be one of the first couple. Just make sure it's, it'll talk about Realtor Properties Resource. I'm sure there's another one in there that is paying for an ad to make it look like it's the one you want to download, but it's pretty simple when you see it. But there's it just kind of gives you the ability to have access to properties on the go. So obviously you can do everything you can on the website. You can actually do a little more. You can see maps of a certain zip code, and it'll talk about, if a property is distressed, if a property is for sale, if a property just sold. The idea of using it on the mobile app is, if I'm showing a house, if I'm driving by a house, you pull up RPR real quick, just similar to you can with Realist or the MLS, but, RPR, I can drive by a property, stop and take a peek at it and pull up RPR and get, all the data I can about that property, even the contact info for the owner. So again, just ways that you can do everything we're going to do today, but obviously do it on your phone and while you're out and about. Okay, so I'm going to kind of just go back and start here. I'm just going to be, again, just clicking around, but if you guys have used this for a certain client or run a certain report and telling us why you did it, I'd love to hear some stories if you guys have used this. So I'm just going to I'm just going to pull up this address because I ran some reports because the reports take a minute to run. I didn't want to run them while we were here, but so I just randomly picked a house. You know what? I apologize. I'm actually going to extend that out because it didn't. Okay, so let's just there's a couple things I can do with RPR. I could pull up one home. Let's say actually John Moody and we were talking. But we were like, hey, I got folks that are looking in Lakewood, Ohio, and everything's going crazy. So if one of the, you were like, hey, 4139 Elm Road is not for sale. my clients say, hey, if that house was for sale, we'd be interested. That, that type of concept. So it's just another option for us to, potentially use this tool. So I just pulled up one property and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So just look at all the data that we have. So it's basically saying, 3 beds, 3 bath, it's 1,800 square foot. I'm just kind of scrolling down through here, and over here, median home value. So, so in this zip code, Chautauqua is the county, and then of course New York. So that's the median home value. So then I scroll down and what's happened in the last 12 months. So this is some data that potentially could be used with did you know type question. Did you know your home value, the home values in Bemis Point or in Chautauqua have raised, have risen, almost 5% in the last 12 months. So things like that, we're kind of starting to talk about. So median sales price. So again, just kind of clicking around. I don't want to get too deep with any one particular thing unless someone has a question. Again, please unmute yourself or throw it in chat. Somebody did put something in chat. John, this is actually pulling information from public records, and if it is for sale, from the MLS. So, so it's kind of really combining a lot of data, and it's not just, I'll show you really actually, how we could actually update the data as well. We'll see that in a minute. So if we know the information is just a little off or whatever, we know they added a bedroom or a bath or things like that, we can adjust it and kind of tweak it for what, what we need for data. So you can see just little things. So like, because I'm really planning on running a report on this home. So for some, whatever reason I did, like I'm going to list this home. I'm going to talk to these people. I'm going to a listing appointment for this property. Or it's just a property like, hey, look, I'm going to ask these guys if it's for sale. Things like that. I can start adding notes. I can actually upload photos. So let's just see if maybe this picture is out of date and it's like, that house does not look like that anymore. So, and by the way, this is my house and it does not look like that anymore. So, different siding and different roof and different decks. So, I would before I did this, I'd be like, man, I drove by it, I snapped a picture of it. It does not look like that. So you can upload pictures. And obviously you can add a seller's proceeds. So you can actually add a report that says, to this whole report that says, hey, if you sold it for, 270, this is an estimate, always an estimate of your, what your proceeds would be. So again, I'm just scrolling down through here. You're still seeing all these stats on this right-hand side. So whatever zip code I pulled, county I pulled, or wherever the house, whatever zip code that house is in, it is the data that it pulled. So you'll see there's a lot of 14712, that of course that's because where the house is. And Chautauqua is the county, and then New York's the state. So, wherever you pull this data is going to all be pertinent to that house, that zip code, and the county that you're in. So just important to know, just because I'm, have this. So here's actually, a place where, I can change any of this data. And what this is going to change is actually, sort of telling me like what the house is worth, or update the home so that I know that it's not 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1 partial. Let's say now it is 4 total baths with 3 full baths, because we know we added a full bath. If I added a room on and it's more than 1,800 square foot, I would want to add that. So again, we're just kind of going through here in updating, anything that we can. And when I save this, because I kind of know that data was changed, you'll see that my value has completely changed, because it's sort of estimating what a bath is worth in the market, because then it puts it into, hey, now we're looking as comps, we're looking at 4 bedroom baths, or 3 bedroom 4 bath homes instead of 3 bedroom 2 bath homes. So that it's kind of the idea. So, you know, again, this is, you know, I'll kind of throw this out there that, you know, no machine, nothing we pull here is going to tell me exactly what this house is worth, or, you know, what someone would pay for it until I get in it. But again, the idea is, you know, when I send these folks a report and I know that it's 3-bedroom, 4-bath, not 3-bedroom, 3-bath, I'm just again showing my value that I'm, you know, up to date and understand that, you know, changes have been made. So, and again, we don't always know the changes, but if we do. So I'm going to keep scrolling down through. Oh, before you over here. So the schools are being populated with grades. So we're kind of, you know, always looking at that. Again, you know, I'm not talking about schools. I'm not saying, you know, this school is good for whatever reason, but, you know, the data is going to be provided to them, and they are free to sort of check it out, and judge the schools on their own. It's not my data. I don't talk about schools, you know, as far as good, bad, things like that, because we don't want to, you know, we don't want to get in trouble with, you know, anything with that. So, but again, just kind of scrolling down through here, you know, value of the home, you know, all different things. So New York, Chautauqua County, 14712, and then this house. So you'll kind of see the, you know, estimated home value since '08 to, you know, to now. So again, just another cool, you know, graph for our folks to see. And, you know, and then just scrolling down through here, schools again, mortgage. So you kind of know, you know, what's going on with that. And then you get down to the bottom, and if I hit create report right here, this is what we see. So this is, you know, just a report about this home. It actually, you know, one of the options is we can, you know, sort of do comps. So again, this is sort of, you know, this is a CMA, but look at the pages. So, you know, one of 71 pages. So, you know, you have the option to shorten this. You can be like, man, I don't want that page in there. I don't want that page in there. I don't want that information in there, you know, shorten it. But the idea is, and I didn't shorten it just because I want you guys to realize, is you guys have access to, you know, for one house. This is not a zip code. This is not streets or anything like this. This is one house. You have the option of running a report that is 71 pages long, to, if you wanted to give to the seller and say, look, this is what I know about your house, you know, and show them that you're, you know, that you're separate from the other agents that went in the MLS and sort of grabbed, you know, a couple comps and handed you a CMA that's got, you know, 3 or 4 pages or something like that, with just no data, you know. So, you know, if you know who you're giving this to, you know, if this is way too much, you know, if it's not enough. But the idea is you have access to hand something like this to them. So now you're, you know, I ran this before I changed the bathrooms, but, you know, it would show here like, oh yeah, the realtor knew that we added a bath and things like that. So again, not going to take a lot of time, but there is so much data here that, you know, all the info that we saw, the mortgage info, you know, seller's info, all of this. So you have set up, again, the option of printing, or ideally emailing, because who wants to print 71 pages, you know, emailing this to someone and letting them just look through it. You know, you're going to get a seller that is like this, buzzing through it as quick as they can. And you got another one that's like, you know, scrolling through nice and slow, because there's just so much data here. And we just set ourselves apart by what we could share with them. So let me check this. Oh, okay, great, Terry. So Terry says, I love using RPR. I use it with all my clients. My buyers appreciate having this info. So, you know, so obviously we always talk about, you know, sellers, and that was kind of my natural, you know, direction was, you know, hey, give this to a seller. But what if a buyer, you know, again, all the properties that are for sale that are listed, you know, if this was one of the properties that your potential buyer was potentially interested in. So like, hey, I got this property, it's not on the market, they might be willing to sell, you know, here's a report on it. Let me know what you think. So again, buyers getting this info to just dig super deep on, you know, on the house that they're potentially putting an offer in. is an awesome option to give to a buyer as well. So thank you, Terry, for that. I appreciate that. So I'm just going to stop there because I really rambled on for quite a while about that one report. Does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to add about show me again, or anything you didn't understand, or similar to Terry, if you've used something like this, in kind of why you did it, and how it went. So I'm going to just pause for a second.
Hey, Wayne, it's Julia.
Hey, Julia.
I use it with my buyers as well, like Terry does, but I use it a lot too when I'm looking up before the market was crazy and comps really actually mattered. I use it to get another set of comps when I'm buying or listing. This is something that I'll pull out of, from Realtor or wherever, but it's the RVM that comes out of it. I find really helpful. It just gives me another data point for my clients.
Awesome. Yeah, in today's market, so again, there's nothing we can, nothing we can give them like, hey, your house is gonna sell for or is worth. But yeah, so Julia was talking about the RVM. So, a lot of websites use an AVM. So the RVM is just a step up, especially since you can sort of tweak it. So, and if you're kind of wondering, so again, when I just pulled up this one page, there's this using RVM in pricing discussions. So if I click that, there's a short little video, literally a minute. We'll talk about, what's RVM and, why should I, but it'll help you, like, hey, I have an RVM, I don't use an AVM, or when you're talking to a potential client or a client about, value, it's awesome to just watch this little 1 minute video to, to help you have that talk track down a little bit. John, so are you sending it out to a buyer for info on a house they are interested in? You can. So that's the idea is, again, I'm one that if this house is not listed, if I have a buyer that I'm sharing info in, if I have a buyer I'm sharing info with on a house that's not listed, I'm always super cautious about sharing too much before I have some sort of before I have something in writing. So if I'm digging in deep and I'm doing all this for a buyer, I am going to have a buyer signed representation. So if they buy a house, it better be, it's going to be with me. So the idea is I don't want to give them too much data and then have them just reach out to the sellers and go, hey, we want to buy your house. You know what I mean? So that's the idea is have a one-time, have a buyer agreement in place that basically, that's that conversation. Like, I am, I know the market's crazy. But I am going to go above and beyond to help you find a house. I am going to be just scouring the MLS. I'm going to be knocking on doors. I'm going to be sending out postcards. So all I need you to do is just, use me as your realtor when you buy a house. So, so things like that. And then I'm never afraid to share data with them and just give them everything I can and let them go, let's go after 4139 Elm Road, that type of conversation. So Anthony says, this has really helped with investors and gave it to them in enough before to read before he went to see the house. So yeah, so that's another click that you can have. Obviously, this probably isn't necessarily an investor's type house, but there are obviously any property that's that's in your zip code or wherever you're looking is available to see. So another option is this evaluate property analysis for investors. So not only all the data that that is on this report, but also another click through to watch a short little video on how the investors can use this data. So again, just lots and lots of information. And there were a couple more. Let me just check real quick. Okay, Gail, you found it. Okay, yeah, I was going to scroll down real quick. So yeah, right here is where so I just kind of ran again just one house. when I scroll down, this is kind of where you can change any of the data. Again, if you know that something's changed. So we don't always know that, but if we do and we update it, it shows that we're up to date. We're not pulling old records and just going with it. So, again, if you take a second and sort of learn this and play around with it and then use it once, do a test on your house, run it, kind of look at the report. I know that it's probably easier just to go in the MLS and go, hey, 3 beds, 2 bath, and just get a, simple, and like, here's my CMA. I know it's easier. But we're in a market, again, I'll keep going back to, just because John mentioned it this morning, how crazy the market is in, telling me that we don't have to find ways to get listings or find ways to get buyers to stick with us, or, just kind of be out of the box a little bit with how we work. Yeah, we're going to have to, we're going to have to do a little extra here and there, just to make sure that our buyers and sellers and clients just see that we're, that we're taking the extra step for them. So. Yeah. So Gail's, yeah, I would say that if it doesn't list a garage, and you said, hey, there is a garage, or they added a garage. I don't know why it doesn't, whatever. Yeah, you definitely add it, and it will adjust the value. And I would say if it didn't have a garage, or it says it didn't have one, for sure that, that value is lower because it, the system thinks it doesn't have a garage. Okay, I'm going to just pause for a minute. Anybody else have any questions? Oh, thanks, John. I appreciate that. John's on the family computer and doesn't have a microwave, so microphone. So, yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of why it sort of came up for this month, John. John's like, why haven't been, basically why haven't I been using this? So, but yeah, I mean, it's just kind of one of those things that, you log into the MLS and then you click, go into the MLS and don't think to look to the right a little bit and wonder what RPR is. So it's, but, totally, yeah, so let me just scroll. You know what, John, I'm gonna. Yeah, Greg, I'm gonna get to the reports in just a minute, but let me just kind of go back to the. So yeah, I mean, when I ran this report and was kind of looking at the comps, when I, went to run it, it allowed me to, let's say it pulled up 30 comps. It let me go, you know what, that's too wide of a radius. You know what, I don't even want that house in this MLS, in this CMA. I don't want that one in there. Yeah, let's put this one in there. So it wasn't just like, hey, you're stuck with this. So it allowed me to adjust it and tweak it and make sure that the houses that were comps, and, it actually will allow you to adjust the comp by going, well, hey, kind of like you really have to, like, hey, that comp is, same square footage, but man, they're in this location, they're on the lake. So, so maybe I use it or don't, but you can adjust all the comps as well. And again, I'm just scrolling down through this, but I'm so here's the, sort of the comps. I quickly pulled some, I don't even know. I mean, it seems pretty close. I probably wouldn't have used the 226s, or I would have adjusted them. But the idea is, so is part of all this report, like, here's everything on your house. And then I get down here and like, okay, now here's the CMA part. So now this is the legit CMA part. And again, you're showing them, in here's the description, because this one was listed. And so it pulled that description in there. And then it gets down to like each individual house. So again, if you're going to include it, I have no issue showing them like, hey, this is a comp to your house, it's, and then, just scrolling down through here. So it'll show just an unbelievable amount of data to help you sort of, comp your house out that you're, again, looking to list, using these for buyers, or even a current seller. You can send this report to them and go, hey, look, just kind of letting you know I'm still working for you. So, and again, I scroll all the way down through this. It's just, so much data. All right, let me just check chat. Yeah, Roger, I don't know. I'm actually, so Roger's just saying, some owner data is wrong. I'm curious. So yeah, that would be something I would double check anyway. I'm not sure why they wouldn't, have updated it. But it, but that's certain. I'm going to actually copy what you said and just maybe send an email to RPR, kind of their support and check on, their data. But basically Roger's saying some of the owner data is wrong. So, but yeah, I'll just kind of see if I can check on that. Okay, so let's just kind of go back here. So now I'm going to go back to this homepage, and obviously I can do a zip code. I can do so you can see city, zip, county, township, or one property. But I'm going to actually just kind of skip to this reports page. And just like Greg had said, so here's all the different reports I can run. So, I can run a property report, a seller's report, property flyer, a mini property report, valuation, market activity, neighborhood, or school. So, kind of crazy. So I kind of ran this market activity report for 14712. So again, that's the zip code that I look at. So I just simply put in, 14712. I didn't change anything. So, this one's 15 pages. So, threw out a map. Okay, so that is 14712. That's what it is, that's the outline of the area. So again, whatever zip code or county or township you put in, you would get the little map there. And now I'm basically just showing stats. So the median home value, what it's done over the last, so, some of these don't change over the month, but, for the last 12 months, increase in value of 11%, and that's sort of without, my market, just so you guys know my market, we'll have multiple offers, but we are not, I repeat, not selling properties, 20,000 over listing. Maybe we're 3 or 4 over listing. So, we're just not a market that, sees crazy movement. But 11%, I would love to share that stat. That would be a stat that I would share, every day of the week. So when you run something in your zip code or your farming market, whatever area you are, and these numbers could likely be, up, up 20%. Who knows? Like, you find stats in this report that are worth, sharing and that you want to share. So again, just kind of scrolling down through here. So no distress, but, just options. You can include these pages, you can take them out. Sales price, list price, so again, just stats that you can share to, we talk about farming, and if I'm going to send something out, I'll always say that, you better be sending out stats. If I'm going to farm a market, I appreciate the recipe calendars and stuff, things like that. But, if you're going to farm, actually farm or prospect a neighborhood, you better be putting out stats. So again, kind of pulling a report that, I'm not going to send a report that shows a bad stat. I'm going to be like, hey, that page is getting left out. I'm going to show, I'm going to show all the positives and say, did you know that the value of your home has, gone up, 11% in the last 24 months. Those are stats that we want to share. So every zip code you pull will be different. But yeah, again, just scrolling down through here, pending listings, sold, well, next one, what has sold, you know, in the last, I think I chose 6 months for this. So you can say, you know, last month, you can say last 6 months. So all these reports are completely customizable. And, you know, I'll just say that you cannot break, just like everything, usually when we do these, you know, you cannot break RPR. So what you do need to do is get in here, click around, you know, push buttons, you know, say, I don't want that. So I'll just gonna kind of go back. So, so I'm gonna, you know, just say 14722. So that's a zip code. Let's say that's a zip code that I am going to sort of farm. Oh, here we go. Oh, sorry. I didn't see that it's asking me that. So this is just like, I just ran a zip code. You will see that in this zip code, there are 1,225 properties total. So I didn't sort anything. I just said, hey, what's everything? So, you know, now, like, you know, just a couple things I can do, but, you know, with this, I can create a report that will run one just like the one I showed you. I can go, well, you know what, let's see if we can tweak this a little bit. So anything on this left-hand side, I'm tweaking, like, well, I don't want 4 leases, that, you know, whatever you don't want, you know, I don't want pendings, you know, but, you know, those are included with, along with every property in the market. So it's, you know, that just because these are clicked, you know, if I said, look, I want everything off market because I'm trying to go after some properties, you know, if I did something like that, so now I'm, you know, when it'll take a second to update that, but now I'm kind of tweaking this with, you know, with what's not for sale. So actually it did. So it was 1225. So there are 18 properties for sale in this zip code. Now we're down to 1207. So now I have off market, and then sold, recently sold. So, okay. So nothing in this list is currently for sale. You know, and then I can say, you know, man, I want to go high end. So let's just kind of creep up here and go, you know, 500,000 and above. Whatever I change in this left-hand side will, you know, will adjust, you know, this report, and whatever I'm using this report for is the reason why I want to adjust it. So there are good Lord, you know, out of the 1207, almost half of them are 500,000 and above. So, you know, so kind of crazy, but again, whatever I wanted to use this for. So, you know, something simple like, what if I wanted to mail them something? I don't know. I just want to mail these folks, I just want to mail these folks, a postcard. So how do I get their addresses? So, you know, there's a neat little button here, mailing labels. So if I just click that, and John, this would be something where if you kind of pulled a zip code up in a street and wanted to send them something. So, you know, just for the record, I'm always a fan of handwritten. You know, I love the idea of printing the labels and just having them. But you know, personally, I'm a huge fan of handwritten. But you know, even at worst, you know, if I said, you know, yeah, I mean, you have the option of current, you know, so this would be something maybe Roger would use with like knowing some of the addresses aren't perfect. So Stuart Cole or current resident, or you can just go current resident. But if I just did owner name and thought, you know what, I want to do the handwritten, envelopes. If I just go to print this, oops, oh, too many properties. So, you know, what it'll do is it'll actually, you know, allow you to print. So there, I think 500 is the max that you can print. So, but yeah, so the option is, let me just quick go up a little bit, just because I want to show you guys, like, it's pretty cool that, you know, so if you really wanted to, okay, we're down to 108. Oh, sorry. I was playing around. So you have that's something new. I didn't know, but you have a limit of 2,000 records a month to be able to pull the mailing labels. So, but when you get to that, what it does is it gives you like you could literally, if you had those labels in your printer, you push print, you will print the labels and it will give you the name and address of every address in this 108 properties. So again, just options. You could take that and handwrite them, but it kind of gives you, without having to click on each property, get the address, the name and things like that. It allows you to just kind of run that report. So again, just kind of wanted to show you guys that quick. Again, you'll see that it's this right-hand side with all of these stats will be in this report. If I run this report, so now it switched to 14722, which of course I was in 14712, but still Chautauqua, still New York. But now all of these stats on this right-hand side are pertaining to, the zip code that I ran this report on. So let me just check chat real quick. John, I did not find, I've used this in the past in getting back in it. I did not find any auto emails. So this is more of a sort of that one-time report that you can, send to them. But I'm going to keep playing with it. And certainly if I can, find anything else. So I'm going to.
Nice to meet you. We're so glad you came back today.
Mute. So I did want to, before I go any further, I'm just, on this page, but it's on the home page as well. This learning button right here, there are, I think like a series of 8 videos, and they're like 4 to 5 minutes a piece. And it will just go from one topic to the next. It'll basically be like, hey, here's your homepage. Hey, here's searching for a property. Hey, here's running a report. So, it was super. I was actually just listening to them yesterday to kind of get a refresher and playing around a little bit. But, they were awesome, just short, 4 to 5 minute videos on, basically everything I'm showing you, but with them sort of clicking through. So, so certainly worth, going and watching those, so that you can, get a better feel. Obviously this is being recorded, so we'll be able to share it, but, definitely wanted to kind of show you guys that little learning option. So, again, just tons and tons that you can do on this. You can search all properties, obviously, for sale, for lease. You can do it by neighborhood. So John Moody, this is where, you can kind of pull up Lakewood or run that report on Lakewood, send it to a street that your folks might be interested, add some information about, hey, if, are you considering selling kind of info or question, but, do it by schools, do it by market activities. There's, some other options of kind of the searches you can do. I kept it pretty simple in most of those, but, just like the MLS, you can say, hey, Max is, 250, they need 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and kind of run it, so just, it keeps track. So all the reports you run will be in the system for 30 days. So, just kind of know if you run something, if you run a 14712 and it'll be in your reports section for 30 days. So, past 30 days, you're going to have to, basically rerun it. So, which is just basically saying, hey, the data's, not as accurate 30 days out. So you really do want to run, or rerun the report if you're going to send it to someone, 2 months from now. So instead of sending them one from 2 months prior. So that's why it does that. Just scrolling down, I'll just remind you in case you missed it, the RPR mobile app. Super cool. Again, everything we did today, but also, sort of pinpoints you to, to where you are, the house you're standing in front of. There's a cool map on the app, that will show 14712 down to the street and shows distressed properties. So, if you're kind of looking for, whether it's foreclosures or short sales or somebody that's behind in their mortgage. I was playing around last night and I'll tell you, someone from Ohio, someone from Ohio, sorry, you guys are mostly all from Ohio, in the Cleveland market, I was playing around last night And there was, I found like 3 or 4 houses that the owner got a foreclosure letter. So, I mean, those are properties that, maybe that seller doesn't, the owner doesn't know that they could still sell prior to, or potentially, depending on where they are in the process, but, short sales, things like that. So again, just unbelievable, data here that we have access to, and just, clicking through and, pushing buttons and redoing something and running a new report. So, history, all the charts, refined value, the comp analysis. So if I click to that, so because I did this, I'm going to take 2 seconds and just show you guys this. So I'm actually going to, back this up and I'm going to edit this comp because I was like, man, I didn't like what I ended up choosing in there. So I actually have the ability to, to tweak this and go, you know what, we're 3 bedrooms. So I'm going to go 2 to 4 bath, we're 3 baths. So we're going to go 3 to, 4 baths. So again, this is sort of just a tool where you can sort of tweak, what you want to be included. Obviously, if it's a single family, if condo was clicked, you're like, oh, I don't want, we don't compare condos and single families. You would have the ability to, there are some markets, mine in particular, I can almost compare my entire county. So like I have an entire county, like, there could be houses throughout the county that are included in a CMA. And we know that, in certain areas that we sell in, there could be like, like a half a mile max or a mile or, something much less than an entire county. So, so just kind of knowing that you have all of that ability, when you're kind of running this CMA, and you'll see that this CMA that I ran, we're across the lake. We got properties all over the place that I kind of used in my CMA. But you have the ability to go, I don't want those in there, and I only want properties, within this area. Whatever your works for the CMA that you're kind of running. You draw a shape. And be like, we have to be within, whatever, I'll just say that area. So again, just play, I'm just clicking around just because there's so much, but, definitely just playing around with this. And I like the idea of kind of using your house or a friend's house or a neighbor's house, as an example, do a friend's house and send it to them and go, hey, what do you think? Like, is that a lot? Is it accurate? I need it's sort of my favorite. I need a favor. By the way, you'll be telling someone that you're still selling real estate. Anytime we can send something like this, send it to some folks in a zip code, like, hey, I got 10 people in this zip code that are either past clients or whatever, send it to them. Hey, let me know what you think kind of concept, is always pretty cool. And then last one would be neighborhood. And, just kind of, the graphs from that. And, pretty cool to kind of know, out of the folks living there, how many folks are, by age and things like that. So anybody have any questions? Again, I hope it's valuable. I hope I didn't just kind of buzz around too much, but just want to stress again, log in, check it out, run a couple of reports, go through a CMA, because when you do it the first time, there's a lot you can do. So, you just want to, adjust it and get used to it. But, definitely something to consider is using, this as a CMA option going forward, just because it tells you when I ran that 71-page report, it gave me the option, like, just, it was literally like, just so this is 71 pages. So if you want to deduct and, delete any of the pages, you can not include them in the report. So again, like, hey, look, I want to keep it to this number or that number. But the fact is there is 71 pages of info that you can give to someone, whether you do or not, or give it all to them or give some to them, whatever that is. There is that much data that we have access to that, you know, talks about things that are important to someone that is looking to buy, like Terry says, they, you know, in Anthony sent, you know, the investors. So, you know, buyers, sellers, investors, clients, past clients, you know, someone that owns a home, like, you know, that's valuable data to them. You know, whether they look at it, look at every single page, look at every single detail, or skim or whatever, you know, the fact is, you know, I can go to the MLS, you know, run a report, you know, CMA or any sort of thing. It's going to be 4 pages. It's, you know, it's going to be limited data, or I can have the option of sending, you know, 71 pages to someone, you know, again, you know, letting them know, yeah, I don't, you know, I don't work like everyone else. You know, this is how I work, because I need to know, or want to know, or I need you to know, you know, all you can about this property or your property. So it's kind of just the concept behind, you know, RPR. So I'm going to stop for a second, of course, please. I would love anyone to, you know, sort of unmute themselves and chat. You know, real quick, has anyone used, I mean, obviously some folks have said, anybody else used RPR? Anyone else interested now and gonna play with it? I'd love to just kind of hear your thoughts on the training, and if a second training is valuable, if you guys just want to play with it for a little bit and then let us know. Let me know what you're thinking.
This is Samantha.
Yes.
I actually had a buyer's agent. We had an appraisal go bad, and a buyer's agent sent me a huge packet of RPR, and it really intrigued me. And that's one reason I really wanted to jump on today, because I was very impressed with the amount of comps and information it provided.
Nice.
So,
I love that. So,
yeah.
so we can't, you know, we can't influence the appraisals and things, but,
Right.
you know, but we have the option to get some data to an appraiser, or to a, you know, to a client, you know, to show like, hey, you know, maybe missed this one, or did you know that? So that's kind of the concept. So I love that. Thanks. Thanks for sharing.
No problem.
All right. So yeah, some other folks, Greg says, I've used it quite a bit. Roger says, I love it. I'll continue to explore it. Yeah, that's the idea. You know, I mean, again, just another little testimonial is Sam, you know, hadn't maybe used it personally, but got you know, you know, let's say a 71-page report from another agent, you know, kind of justifying, you know, a price, or helping with, you know, justify a price. But again, just the idea that all that data is there. It's just a matter of what works for me, what I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to farm, prospect, if I'm trying to work with a buyer, seller, investor, you know, we're going to, you know, be able to just tweak it for what we need. All right. Well, anybody else have anything? I'll just pause for a second before we stop for the day. All right. Well, I am going to. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. You're welcome, Terry. And thanks everyone for joining today. This will be recorded, so I'll make sure I send it out on the Agent Hub and Facebook and stuff, just for anybody to rewatch. But please, you know, play around with it. Watch those learning videos. Again, the 4 to 5 minute, you know, short little videos to kind of refresh what we did. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining. Have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, Wayne.
Absolutely. Take care.